Those people who ask us, this is the entire manifesto of the Linda Mwananchi group.
From the start of this week, Sifuna has been very busy. He has been conducting one interview after the other, moving from one media house to the next, and has been hosted by some of the biggest breakfast shows in the country. Started off with NTV, with Latif, where he got a chance to articulate key points and questions that people have been asking about the Linda Mwananchi. But one thing that stood out from this interview is Sifuna somehow unveiled what we can call the manifesto of the Linda Mwananchi group. And according to him, their manifesto is very simple. They are not promising those fancy things that you hear politicians saying, including stadiums, funds for the youth, women, and everything. No, what Sifuna is promising is that they are going to provide Kenyans with a country that is ruled by the current constitution. According to him, if the constitution is followed to the letter, it will solve a majority of the problems that we have, and more so, what he referred to as the software of this nation. If everything is done according to the constitution, or how the framers of this constitution anticipated, then all the other things will fall in place. This is what he said generally about the manifesto of the Linda Mwananchi. This is the first group in the opposition that has provided Kenyans with a blueprint of what they will do. It is a challenge to the united opposition led by Rigathi Gachagua, Matiang'i, Kalonzo and Martha Karua and others, because they have not come out clear to say what they will do for this nation, apart from kicking William Ruto out of the office. And that should not be what Kenyans expect, because what we want is a country that is better for us, with or without William Ruto. So this is a direct charge to the united opposition. They might tell us what they will do, apart from kicking Ruto out of the office. This is what Sifuna said about the manifesto, and why a constitution forms the heart of their manifesto.
Agenda. Yeah. I want the people to understand that we are not going to talk about shiny things, We are not going to talk about stadiums. Previous politicians in campaigns have actually engaged people box using shiny things like laptops and Barabara and stadium. I remember those billboards of the 5 stadiums in Mombasa and all these places. I'm telling you, Mariam, any person can build a stadium. Moi builds stadiums. But what we are looking for is something higher. Kenya has what I describe as a software problem. And you have to go back to the preamble of the constitution. This constitution has a history. There was a life we used to live that then we said this has to stop. And going forward, this is the life that we want to live. And if you go back to the preamble of the constitution, it tells you the aspirations of Kenyans, the kind of government that they wanted. And our message to the public is that that is the government we want to form. And if you read the preamble, it says, recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. Those 6 values are more important than stadiums. You understand? Because everything that we do, we're not saying we don't want development. Because any government, a democratic government, will still collect taxes. And they will still have a responsibility to build roads. But in what environment are they building? So if you see somebody telling you, this constitution requires, for instance, when you construct anything, or any expenditure of public money must be done in a transparent manner. So you have a choice between somebody building you a stadium, and then the Auditor General tells you the costs were varied, 11 billion, no explanation. There was no consultation of the Attorney General, that they refused to use open tender, which is the transparency that we're talking about. And we understand the exasperation of Kenyans, because Kenyans have been yearning for these things. There are those who will be tempted to say, sisi tunataka tu stadium ijengwe. It's okay. It's okay because of the history that we have. People are feeling, wacha tu barabara ijengwe hata kama mtu amekula 20%. At least kuna barabara. But we are telling them, even a Democrat can do that. I was giving the example of those young men who were beaten up for no reason while playing pool in Nandi Hills. So mtu amekuletea pesa ya Nyota Fund uanzishe pool. Alafu umeanzisha pool, usiku hujafanya makosa yote, polisi wanakuja wanakupiga. That is the value system that we want to fix. I want to tell Kenyans that we need to go back to the original idea of the sort of government that we wanted to be able to implement this. And there's a reason, in constitutional and legal interpretation, when you have words following each other, and there's a comma, the order of the words is not it's not a fluke. It's not happenstance. There's a reason why the first value there is human rights. There is a reason, you know. Then we go to equality and freedom. When you talk to many of these young people in this country, people want to live in a country that is free. It's free. I might not have something to eat, but I am not fearful that the police will knock down the door the next minute. And then there is something called rule of law. You know, these things, they're not just, you know, fanciful terms that we throw around. You visit countries, Eric, and they are Kenyans, my friend. People who have slaved away in European countries, in places like Seattle. I met Kenyans who are doing jobs that many Americans will not want to do. In these old elderly care homes, yeah, and they tell you that after going through all that, doing all these menial jobs, you have saved up some money, yeah. I want to buy a piece of land in Nairobi, but I don't know whether once I have put all my entire life saving after doing all these menial jobs, somebody will come and tell me, by the way, hii plot iko na title mbili, ama ni ya mkubwa, usikie hii ni ya senator wa Nairobi, anakuambia utoke. Na anakuambia, even if, for instance, the rule of law means if there is a dispute between me and you, Latif, and you go to court and you get a court order, everybody, including wakubwa, will respect that court order. So somebody sitting there in Australia wondering, hey, Maze, I want to come home. Lakini, which home am I coming to? We want a home that is governed by rule of law. That if an order is issued against Sifuna, it doesn't matter if he's the president, the order will be respected. No investor will come and invest in a country where they are not sure that if a dispute arises between them and the government, that, you know, there are stories, I don't know if we have time. No commercial breaks. So, an investor comes to Kenya, and before they put their mradi here, everybody from the local chief to the MCA to the president is saying, "Bi usiponipea shares in mradi." I mean,
it's essentially how almost every project works.
So the message here from Edwin Sifuna is, I want to be part of those that create a government that recognizes the preamble of the Constitution. The preamble of the Constitution is the very beginning of our Constitution. You can go and look at the Constitution of Kenya. It has those...
It gives you the reasons.
Those loyally words.
Not loyally words. This is actually a summary of the reasons why we chose this one.
It's the heart of the Constitution.
Yes, it is a reason.
Acknowledges the supremacy of the Almighty God, honoring those who heroically struggle to bring freedom and justice to our land.
Correct.
Proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity, and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. Respectful of the environment, which is our heritage, and determined to sustain it for the benefit of future generations. Committed to nurturing and protecting the well-being of the individual, the family, communities, and the nation. And this is Sisindio Sifuna's main one.
Correct.
Recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. And you say the sequencing of these words is deliberate by the drafters of the Constitution.
Correct.
And it stands for something. I wonder, how do you get this?
Now,
how do you deliver this to us?
Now, those people who ask us, this is the entire manifesto of the Linda Mwananchi group. This is the manifesto we will give to the people of Kenya in 2027. That it is possible, by the way, Latif, to live a life that captures all these aspirations, because there's a history to it. There was a time, I've given you stories here. There was a time when none of these things were possible. Even just sitting here and having this conversation, it was not possible. So you will see at the end there, it says, exercising our sovereign and inalienable right to determine the form of governance of our country, and having participated fully in the making of this constitution, we adopt, enact, and give this constitution to ourselves and to our future generations. These words are profound. They mean something. So let us discuss the software of the country. One of the things that we must accept as leaders, you must accept that you also have blind spots. But, Mariam, you know, when somebody says, Sifuna, sit here and give me economic policy, first of all, I'm not an economist, and I must accept that I don't know everything. There are these know-it-all leaders who is farmer number one, Isijui is the expert on ICT expert, Isijui Nini. That is not who we are. We have to recognize that we don't have everything with us. But we have a country where this expertise exists. I was driving on a road from Mbita,
Homa Bay.
Yes, in Homa Bay. You know, I took my family for the Christmas break, not the Christmas, the New Year's Eve, in some fishing village there in Homa Bay. And you drive along that thing they call the Lake Victoria Ring
Causeway.
Road.
Oh, no.
The Lake Victoria Ring Road.
Okay.
Beautiful views. I dare anyone who has traveled anywhere else to tell us if they've seen something more beautiful than that road, the views on that road. But the road is terrible. Then I remembered, I visited a city in South Africa called, it's called what? East London. Now, East London is also a coastal city. There is a proper boardwalk there, where people come with their families and they chill on Sundays, they do roasts and other things. That thing was designed and built by a Kenyan from Bungoma, called Wavula. So we